Shoot the breeze topic number 9 is why is FBA being used to undermine black countries? This came, of course, with a link that's taking us to YouTube.
I have constituents that have been scattered across Africa on train and equip missions. So just ballpark, in the last decade, how many Africans has the United States military trained and equipped?
Congressman, I don't have that figure. I can get that figure for you.
Ballpark, just, how many?
Congressman, it would be a wild guess, right?
Seems like something we should know, right?
Over the years, we have trained a substantial number, especially in the Gulf of Guinea states, but including
like more than 10,000.
It is more than 10,000.
More than 50,000.
I'd say we're reaching around 50,000 at least.
And what percentage of the people we've trained end up participating in insurrections or coups against their own government?
Very small number, Congressman. Very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
But it does happen.
The IMET program is in force, and we've pushed a significant number through our schools across the.
Yeah, and what data sets do you track to arrive at the conclusion that less than 1% of the roughly 50,000 that we've trained have participated in coups? Because it'd be like about 500, about 1% of 50,000.
Congressman, you may have that information. I don't at this time, but I know.
Well, I know there are some, right? Like go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Well, that guy in the middle with the big red hat, Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, that's him with a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just months after this photo was taken in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share core values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values. Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
It's in our curriculum. We stress core values. We request civilian-led governance.
Wait, hold on. Is leading coups in our curriculum?
Absolutely not.
So
civilian-led.
My question is, do we share core values with the coup leader in Burkina Faso who we trained?
Holistically, we teach core values with a respect for civilian governance, apolitical, and that's what sticks across a very high percentage in the 90 over 99 percentile.
Right? But not everybody. And I wonder how many people it takes to plan a coup. I mean, initially you didn't know how many we trained and equipped. Then you said it was 1%. You had no basis for that 1% number because there's no data set you track. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. Another U.S. trained soldier stages a coup in West Africa by the Intercept.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I further seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. U.S. forces trained the Guinean colonel behind the recent coup in West African country, and this is regard to Guinea.
Without objection, so ordered.
So I guess the question is, why should U.S. taxpayers be paying to train people who then lead coups in Africa?
Congressman, our curriculum harvests core values and also to be able to embolden these countries for a representative democracy.
But General, that democracy isn't what emerges. The problem is, I know you may have great confidence in what you're teaching, but when two governments have been overthrown, I guess how many governments have to be overthrown by people we train before you sort of get the message that our core values might not be sticking with everyone? Is it 5 countries? 10?
We'll continue with our persistence in assuring
but do you think it's
that
working?
they harbor they harbor democratic norms,
But
democratic values.
just a moment ago, you
apolitical.
said we shared core values with Colonel Doumbouya. You said that just moments ago in response to my question, and his core value seems to be leading a coup. So I don't think it's stuck. I think we should at least know how many countries we train the coup plotters in. How many is too many? Because clearly 2 is not too many, and I think we could use our resources far more effectively than doing this.
Yeah, I apologize for any latency there may have been. I see Jose said there was some latency. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's really going on.
General Langley, I
me,
have constituents.
It played out. It played out fine. So I'm not sure what's going on. Carl, why is FBA being used to undermine black countries?
Because the FBA is a government controlled opposition to African unity. That's why uh, the general is saying, you talking about core values. I would like to know the governments of these countries that they overthrow. Were these countries trying to break away from U.S. hegemony? Because if they were, then that definitely goes with their core values, which is to maintain U.S. imperialism overseas. So I don't think that what they were doing was in any opposition to the U.S. core values. Remember the School of the Americas that trained uh, many right wing governments and organizations in Latin America, who they then unleashed and helped overthrow any type of leftist socialist governments in the Americas. So yeah, I don't think that these coups are any violation of core values or anything like that, because it's the pretense is that the U.S. is there to support democracy, and we all know that's a lie. We don't have democracy in the U.S. So just thinking about it is just it's comical to me. But yeah, I don't think that what FBA, Foundation of Black Americans, is really just a psyop. It's really meant to foster disunity within uh, with not just African Americans, but to African people, Africans in the Caribbean. It's really just again, it's COINTELPRO. These the same tactics that were used by the FBI against the Black Panthers, against the Black Liberation Army, are still being used to this day. And I guess my frustration is the fact that these tactics really haven't been updated since the '60s, and they're still using them, and we're still falling for them. I guess so. That's my frustration, is that these same things are being used against us. And we have so many black people in the military service working. Barack Obama, was the one who reinvigorated AFRICOM and built more U.S. military bases across the African continent. So the unity that we need is being undermined by these black people who identify more with the oppressor class, more than what the Americans, than their own oppressed and suffering brothers and sisters across the globe. It's really quite disgusting, if you ask me, how many black people want to be a part of this sinking ship that we're in. Um, it's just really disturbing. But yeah, long story short, FBA is truly a just a COINTELPRO, uh, undermining black unity, black progress, in an attempt to keep us in, a permanent underclass, because a few people might benefit from it. All right, and I'll pass the mic.
I appreciate that, Carl. Why is FBA being used to undermine black countries? Let's welcome back Ben Uko. Ben, you were here early and then you disappeared. What's going on?
Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, I'll be here. Yeah, again, these guys, these black generals that they put in the front of us, whether they're African or and when in this case FBA, they're nothing but tools and criminals for the U.S. government. That's what you have there, there, and then when you say but it sees that they're okay. They're okay to overthrow nations. It's okay. It's okay to like rape the women. It's okay. for them to lie us into these wars. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to them. But I don't think it's okay. I think it's a way that they're going to use this for warfare. This is warfare 101 right here. Try to use blacks against liberation. And again, this FBA movement, it's nothing but a hustle. That's all. That's what you're using. So when you see this bootleg over here, this Joe Langley, he you see him like a chump. That's a chump right there. He doesn't. He has no spine to stand up for black people. And that's all I have for right now.
Thank you for that, Ben Uko. Let's go to Real Black Gentleman. Real Black Gentleman, why is FBA being used to undermine black countries?
Just because, I mean, the general nature of Black Americans is that we're, for the most part, I mean, we exist kind of insulated from the rest of the world. So when people see Black Americans in general, that, you know what I'm saying, people, you know, say our culture, because it's not like we actually have, like, we are out here in any kind of national sense, having any kind of strong national objective product. You know what I'm saying? We don't sell anything as black people that's like our national thing. So it's our culture and the way that we perform entertainment. Like, that's what winds up happening. So like, people see Black Americans generally as, like, you know what I'm saying, benign, you know, neutral individuals that have charm or whatnot. And so like, you know, Black people can go overseas and, you know what I'm saying, do nefariousness and just on the strength. Have you guys ever heard of what's his name? MKO Abiola in Nigeria. Have you ever heard of that, Koku?
No, I'm not familiar.
He was a president that was elected back in 93, right? And then Nigeria annulled the election, right? The whole like military government just like shut it down. It was popularly elected and it was shut down, right? You know what I'm saying? A couple of years later, he's in prison. You know what I'm saying? Under like military shits, right? Why is it like no one knows about this? I read about this years ago, right? Susan Rice and Thomas Pickering, at this point, the goddamn Secretary of State and like the Undersecretary, go to visit him and he winds up dead. And like they put on a whole press conference. These are the type of things. Susan Rice is a whole black woman, right? Supposedly, right? These are the type of people in Biden's administration and Obama's administration. I said that happened in the 90s. That lets you know that America uses figurehead black people to do the most nefarious things. That's why Obama was able to triple and do AFRICOM. They black faces. I mean, it's just like black faces, you know what I'm saying, to do the dirt. And then, you know what I'm saying, they naturally fall into the, you know what I'm saying, I'll just fall into the system. The system will protect me. The system will protect me. And that's all they live for, to keep the system intact.
Oh, 1 second here, but also you have a there was a video that I watched one time, was like, it was from Thought Crimes, Prince Solomon. He was explaining how they used Obama to go into AFRICOM and stuff, but he explained how they used, so they had to dip in hip hop in the blood, into the black blood. So it was a great video on talking about how they used the black blood to destroy hip hop. It's the same way they're doing with Africa. It makes a lot of sense. So you're the mic here for a quick comment.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's the whole. Now, again, I do think that there is, even though I'm pretty sure that a lot of the like Yvette Carnell, like she was involved in a organization that was kind of like propping her up with the whole like Native thing. I do think, again, there is some benefit in it, you know, unintended, because I think, again, I do think that black people should, I mean, you don't want this, and even in terms of the greater black, you know what I'm saying, world, you don't want it to be that America's just this depository of black people. people should have a sense of identity. I don't want to get crazy about it, but I don't want it to be that, you know, who could ostensibly be not the best black people find themselves in America and then, you know, ostensibly blend in and kind of saying, well, I'm black, just like, you know, someone who is naturally born here. I mean, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. It goes wherever, you know what I'm saying, people are. You should not like leave your country and then kind of hide out amongst other people. You know, you don't do that. That's wrong. They're doing it because, I mean, you want to, it's like the Trojan horse. I mean, it's like, it's sending someone who looks like you, you know, like they say, what's the old saying? Hey, the axe walks into the forest and the tree says, hey, he's one of us. Man, let me drop the mic.
Let's hear from Jose on this one.
Sorry, I just took a bite of an apple. You know, we're a bit harsh on our African American brothers. It's just the prompt, right? It's just the prompt that says why is FBA being used to undermine black countries? To complete what I said on the previous on number 8. So America is this lifestyle machine, right? It produces lifestyles, and the world is to follow, and the multinationals can sell, right? So that's why we, outside of the United States, we have to understand and be patient with our brothers in the States, since they are in the machine and they are being used. Because haven't you noticed when they need to lie to the world with 9/11 and the weapons of mass destruction, they put Powell in there to make a fool out of himself, right? And now here we're looking at this dude, and at press conferences we're looking at Jean-Pierre, you know. So there's a handful of other positions that are you know, the judge, for example, the judge that couldn't explain what is a woman. You know, it's fishy. It's fishy. So as they put more blacks in more positions this time, I suspect that the lie is going to be louder than 9/11. I just wanted to share that. You know, we have to be you know, it's not like every black American is FBA, but I guess there's more blacks in the military than there's FBA. At least I hope so. And that's a morbid hope, because to be in the army of our adversary is not a good position, right? So there was another thing I wanted to share. We have to understand that. We have to very good. We have to understand very well the function of the United States, actually, so that we know how to tackle the I don't know how serious I sound with this description of the United States being a cooperation of workers, mercenaries, and mannequins, but I think it's very serious that we are aware of this lifestyle machine with a marketing force behind it that's selling all these images of each other, of history, of anything. The narrative comes from the United States, actually, and the sneaky bastards are here in Europe, is what I suspect. But anyway, I pass the mic.
Yeah, I suspect the same. Go ahead.
I want to just briefly chime in and say one quick thing in terms of what Jose said.
Can you bring up your volume a bit?
Oh, goodness, man. Coco, you're killing me tonight, man, because I had the phone again. Can you hear me now?
I mean, we can hear you, but it's just a little low.
Yeah, I promise I could get a new microphone for next week. I promise.
All right.
But yes. So when I hear RBG say that there should be distinctions that made should be made in terms of immigrants coming in to the local population and just mixing in, I get that. I understand where he's coming from with that, based on the history, based on the fact that the family, the Black American families have been there much longer, so there should be an exception to the greater rule of just because you look black like me, you may not necessarily have the same kind of privileges as I would. I understand that in terms of what's going on in here in my country. But what I would say is this. What I would also say is this. The distinctions or the distinct line should not stop there. Because if this person is going over the African territories and doing things to create coups in Africa, I think that some Black Americans should make themselves fundamentally distinct from these characters to say, well, the white government is propping up these kinds of people to do these kinds of things. We are not like these people. We want to make distinctions with these people as well. We want to be distinct from these people as well because they don't speak for us. They speak for their white government and their white paymasters. They don't speak for our community and what our interests are. So I think that the distinction should be also made in that regards as well. It can't just I think there's a microphone on. There shouldn't be only one distinction that's being made. There should be two. There should be a distinction in terms of the immigrant population coming in and just mixing in and say, well, we FBA too, or we Black Americans too. And there should be a distinction made by in terms of what the white government does and what the Black society within that nation endorses. That distinction should be clear because what their government does is not it may not be in line with what the Black society within or the Black community in America wants in terms of international relations and what they do internationally to other Black countries. I think that should be distinctive. I'll pass the mic.
You know what?
Oh,
That's a good point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought it was done. Can I speak?
go
Yes,
ahead,
yes,
Paul.
sir.
Oh yeah, because you know what? It was always understood that it was not our government; it was just the government. And I'm speaking from a Black American who has a little bit of knowledge about our radical tradition here in this country. Even the Black Panther Party, they sent representatives to Vietnam, to Ho Chi Minh, North Vietnam during the Vietnam War, trying to send troops over there, which I thought was ridiculous. But anyways, understood that this is not our government. This government does not represent African people, African Americans, who were born here in this country. Because, and they mentioned Colin Powell. Colin Powell helped cover up the My Lai massacre during the Vietnam War. He helped plan the invasion of Panama in 1989, which killed thousands of African people, Black Panamanians. So this government doesn't speak for the majority of Black people, Black Americans. We understand that this doesn't represent us, and the ideas of U.S. imperialism, that goes against our what we want as people. I think we need to be more vocal about that. We have these puppets and these clowns in Congress, the Black Congressional Congress, who don't speak for the majority of Black people in this country. They're too busy approving whatever military money that the Pentagon wants. They're talking about help, sending more money to Ukraine as Black people suffer in this country. So, we have to be more vocal about these people who don't represent us and they don't speak for us, because I don't want Black Americans to get a reputation across the globe, across the diaspora, that we're in cahoots with these monsters, because we're not.
Anybody else want to add anything to this discussion? If not, we can end it there. That's
Oh, wait, can
topic
I say
number.
something? Can I just add on? Again, it's like it's sensitive for like I speak English. Like the whole, I like to like allude to like the notion of like, the greater Latino situation of people who speak the same language, more or less, Spanish and Portuguese, they can go around the Western hemisphere and there's a natural thing. Now I speak English. There are places as a black man that there are places, the Bahamas, Jamaica, there are a couple places that speak English, but it's not the same and it should not be. Like the Bahamas should be naturally and you know what I'm saying, let respect, island nations that are predominantly black. I must do that. I cannot come as a black American to the Bahamas and just like act like no, I'm absolutely out of place. I must show respect and deference to the peoples who are there, who are on the soil. Just because we may be able to speak, understand each other, you know what I'm saying? That's like when you I must do that. It's the only way to give power to each other is to give into share respect. That's what I mean. It's like I don't mean to. The only way is like I don't want Americans. That whole idea of Americans go overseas and just like spread. I don't want to spread anything about America. That's not what kind of a time I'm on. I respect individual cultures. I respect how individual cultures work with other cultures around them. Perspective is key. I mean, you can never put a price on of a black man's perspective in this world. That's all.
I appreciate that. You know what? I'm gonna drop Shoot the Breeze topic number 10. We don't have to read the article or whatever. We all probably heard this story, or at least in some parts. I tend to ignore the celebrity stuff, but I was aware that